Hey, welcome to the Brand Breakup Poddy, your favorite podcast for breaking up with your red flag marketing habits. Or good. I'm Janisha, brand expert, wordsmith, and founder of Good Hearted Studio. I help bold businesses stand out, sell more, and never settle for boring. I've lined up some brilliant guest experts, along with a few spicy hot takes of my own to help you ditch the boring and build brands worth falling for. Okay. Cell phones on silent, the show's about to begin. So excited to have Jess Ruhfus on the poddy today. Amongst her many pursuits, Jess is an award-winning marketer, one half of every business owner's favourite marketing podcast, Marketing ATM, the now exited founder of a tech startup coined Tinder matchmaking for brand collabs, the occasional hand model, and last but not least, the founder of e-commerce brand No.2, saving nostrils and relationships one boujee toilet fragrance at a time. Jess lives and breathes all things clever marketing and strategic partnerships, having worked with big league companies like Pinterest, Microsoft, and ASOS, as well as countless small businesses and startups. She also coaches a handful of cherry-picked businesses in her flagship partnerships course, Iconic Duos, teaching brands how to leverage storytelling, anti-boring marketing tactics, and aligned collaborations to build relationships and be seen, talked about, and shopped from without breaking the bank. So excited to have you on. That was quite a mouthful.
I know. I want to copy and paste that onto my website because that's like an epic rewrite of my bio.
I can't help myself. It's just copywriter things. I'm like, let me take the information and write it out again.
Nailed it.
But I'm so excited to have you on. You are literally one of my dream podcast guests, favorite marketers ever. I feel like you just always have the coolest ideas. And I actually first came across you at a Golden Brands event 2 years ago.
Was that the one at the Carlisle?
No, it was the one at somewhere else in Brisbane.
Oh, it was like a cute little chapel hall.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cute little spot.
Oh my gosh.
And you were telling your business story, brand story over the past decade. And I was like, this is epic. I'm actually obsessed in the way you would talk about things. And I'm pretty sure I'd heard of Collabosaurus, but I actually didn't really know what it was. Yes. And I didn't know heaps about brand collabs in general or how it worked. But I was at the time doing a lot of digital marketing, social media management type things. And I would always suggest to brands fun things they could do. But I couldn't really wrap my head around giving them more information than that. I'd be like, oh, you should do this, but I'm but I don't really know enough about it to give you more information on who you should talk to or how to pitch or anything like that. But yeah, and just the way you talked about everything, I was like, this is so cool. And I think at the time I had a client who was a sex toy startup, and I remember straight after the event, I was voice memoing her, you can do all these cool things. Yeah. And I think I maybe messaged you after that as well. And I was
There was a really good example, Unyoked and Normal, the sex toy brand.
Yeah.
They teamed Unyoked to do really beautiful tiny house getaways.
Cool.
And they teamed up on a relationship course with a sexologist, and it was all about getting closer with your partner and having these little weekends away. It was so clever, and it was delivered through an email series and social media campaign.
Oh my God,
really, really clever. So yeah,
that.
sex toys 100%. It's amazing for them.
Yeah, especially because it's such a, I don't know, things just get shadow banned and you can't really do ads and stuff
100%.
the same way. So doing something fun and a collaboration, always really cool. But I'm obsessed with brand collabs, and I feel you live and breathe it. Any opportunity to talk about it, you will. So I would love to chat a little bit with you about what brand collabs kind of are, how they work, and basically for any listeners to who have their own business or brand, how they can sort of get started with it and make it feel a little less intimidating.
Good question. Well, I think brand collabs, they've kind of gotten a bit of a bad name, I think, because they can be used in a fluffy sense. Yeah. It's just collaborate with other brands, and consultants, I don't know, if you're on LinkedIn, you might receive those DMs. It's I'd love to collaborate and my services are $50,000, and it's actually not a collaboration at all. So I think the word gets misused a lot. And I think it also is used as a blanket term across so many different styles of actually teaming up and working with another brand. What we'll talk about today, and when I'm saying collaborations, this is what I mean, is when two or more businesses team up, do something really cool together, and in the process they can help each other grow. So brand collabs in that sense are one of the most cost-effective marketing strategies you can do, because they don't have to leverage cash at all. It can all be about currencies other than cash, and leaning into things like your skill set or your products or your time, and really doing something that's going to add value to the customers, but also cross-promote into each other's audiences and help you grow as well. So yeah, a collaboration can be leveraging currencies other than cash. In Iconic Duos, which is my course, we kind of cover things like brand partnerships as well, which can sometimes involve cash exchange. So if you think of things like an influencer partnership, that's probably more of like an advertising relationship where you would team up with an influencer, and some might call it a collab, inverted commas, but really what it is that you're paying for the content creation and the ad space, and there's an exchange of cash in order to get that placement. Whereas a brand-to-brand collaboration is more about collectively looking at what you both have available to you and like leveraging what you already have.
So true. And it's like, I guess, a little more organic in a sense. Yeah. Like when you think like, I guess, like a gifted collab versus like a paid influencer collab kind of thing.
100%. And I mean, I'm always banging on about the customer journey funnel and like getting customers to know about you, like you, and trust you, and then ultimately buy from you. Yeah. And a collaboration is a really great way to immediately gain trust with a new set of customers, because if you already are a customer of a brand that you absolutely adore and love and trust and buy from, if they're all of a sudden being like, hey, we've teamed up with this brand, there's just an inherent sort of trust there already, which is great.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like that brand association element, because it's like if another brand is almost putting their like stamp of approval on your brand, that can, you know, you can leverage each other. But especially if you're like a smaller brand and you're trying to associate, I guess, with a brand who has a bigger audience, then it's like what you bring to the table as well, maybe in like skill set or a different type of currency. And then just remembering what a big deal it is for a brand as well. Like, while it might be like, oh, well, you know, I'm giving you so much value as well, but it's like your reputation is so important as well.
Well, and also that's one of the reasons why I think small businesses have a lot to gain by partnering up with big businesses, but also other businesses of the similar size to them. In my last business, we had a partnership with Microsoft, which was absolutely massive. Like, it was just David and Goliath style, you know, in terms of our business size. But that doesn't mean that it wasn't a really fair value exchange between the two businesses. We were both gaining a lot out of that partnership, and it was win-win. And I think that's kind of what I want to hone in to everyone listening, is it's like it has to be win-win in order for it to be a successful brand collaboration.
Definitely. And I think from both sides, like, not being afraid to like present your value. Like, if it feels like it's an unfair deal in what you're getting, or like, you know, the scales feel unbalanced, definitely like how you can adjust things further so that it is valuable for both parties as well.
Yeah. And it doesn't always just have to be like a social media competition or giveaway. Yeah. I think that's the other thing that a lot of small businesses default to, because it's just like the simplest, easiest, quick win style of collab. Typically, I see there's three major types. There's social media, product, and event collabs. So social media could be competitions and giveaways for sure, but it could also be like a content series that you could team up and do a Wellness Wednesday, you know, with a wellness brand, and you can collaborate on posts, and that could be a really great social media strategy that you do. Products can be limited edition products, so things like Gelato Messina and Tim Tam teaming up on a limited edition range of flavors. That's a perfect example of a product collab. But you can also do things like bundle products, so you don't have to go down the whole route of, you know, designing and developing and manufacturing a whole new product. You can also bundle stuff together. You could also do packaging collabs. So I've seen this work really well with artist collaborations, doing limited edition packaging. Mecca every year do their holiday collab campaign with the National Gallery of Victoria, which is beautiful, and they spotlight an artist every year. So that's kind of products. And then events and experiential is really just teaming up to create an experience with another brand. The example I use, there's a digital one and a physical one. The digital one is Spotify and Shani Nicholas. Did you ever see that one?
No, I didn't.
So clever. It was Shani Nicholas is an astrologer, and she did playlists based on your star sign.
And
it was so clever because it created a really personalized experience, but it was digital. So I would still kind of put that in that event camp or experiential camp. And then a physical example would be like Barbie and Airbnb teaming up and creating Barbie's Malibu dream house and making it available on Airbnb. It booked out immediately. It had huge media attention. Really exciting. So there's lots of ways you can partner with other brands. It's not just social media based. And then there's referral partnerships and stuff as well. Like we can go on forever about this. But there's some ideas to spark. Anyway.
And like you mentioned, Barbie, that was like collaborations on steroids. Like that was crazy. I actually still haven't seen the Barbie movie. Crazy.
What?
I know. And did it come out last year or the year before?
I think it was probably like 2 years ago now.
Yeah, but I actually, because they had so much happening, I got like Barbie fatigue. By the time the movie came out, I was like, I don't even want to go see it. Like I feel like overwhelmed by as much as it's like so strategic and amazing, but I was like, I'm overwhelmed now.
Yeah. I think they said yes to something like it was a few hundred licensing deals in the space of a short time. And licensing partnerships is a whole other conversation. That's a different type of partnership, but it still, showcases an example, I suppose. There were some better than others. I think they said yes to a lot of collabs that totally missed the mark, but ones that were really good was, so the Airbnb one was great, but I loved grilled burgers, what they did.
Yeah, that was good.
That was clever. I think the brands that succeeded with the Barbie licensing partnerships were really the ones that lent in fully. They didn't do something little or meaningless. They really created an entire experience around a product and, got influencers involved and created a whole campaign.
Yeah, because I think it was one of those things where it was really easy to apply to any brand. Even if you weren't like officially collabing or like partnering with Barbie, you could just put something pink and you're like, oh, it's the Barbie version of it.
Totally.
And I feel like that similar thing happened with all things like Charlie XCX Brat, which was like the opposite of Barbie because it was the green to the pink, which is like so crazy.
I feel like it was millennials versus Gen Z, kind of.
But it was one of those things where it's like with Barbie, it was pink, and then with Brat, it was like the really simple, like that font on the album cover. So it was like anyone could apply that and like lean into like making it like its own world. And then I feel like off the back of that, then it came all things Wicked, and it was like pink and green all over again. Like it's really like
we're done with pink and green.
I know. Like where are the other colors? But no, I love those collabs, and I feel like even though they're like bigger scale, there's always like other things, because I think that a trap that a lot of startups, because I tend to work with a lot more startups when I'm writing their copy, they think that these are things that they can only do once they reach a certain point, or it's only for big brands to do. But it's like there's actually something at your level that you can always do. Just because you don't have a huge name to partner with or licensing deals and things doesn't mean you have to like fall into the trap of just like boring marketing.
Yeah. I mean, I think doing a mix of different types of collabs throughout the year and also who you're teaming up with, like mix that up as well.
Yeah.
And also don't pigeonhole yourself into being like, I only want to collaborate with, I don't know, Wicked, or I only want to collaborate with Pinterest, and like not actually allowing yourself to look at who else are my customers potentially engaging with that we can create something really cool. I think like there's a common misconception that those big collabs are once in a blue moon dream partnerships that once they happen, it's just never going to happen again. And that might be true for some of those huge collabs that you do, but I would say absolutely do not discount the power of smaller brand collaborations throughout the year. An American Express report came out, I think it was in 2017, so this was a long time ago now, but insane revenue uplift that mid-sized companies in Australia saw from brand collabs were reliant on businesses collaborating roughly once every 2 months, every 2 to 3 months. So I think that's a pretty good yardstick to kind of stick to.
Yeah, so cool. And there's so much opportunity there. And I especially think because I feel like I'm always seeing content from business owners who like despise marketing on socials, and they're like, they don't want to have to make content and videos and things. I'm like, obviously it's great to do it, but I'm like, if you don't want to do it, like literally do anything else. Like find a new fun way of marketing yourself. Like you don't have to fully put all your eggs into this basket of like social media content. Like yes, it can complement it, but like get it offline. Like I feel like all my background is in all things digital, but like I have been just screaming from the start, like do it online, because people are craving it so hard. I mean offline.
Yeah.
Did I say online?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, people are craving like actually doing fun
Connections,
things in real life. So I guess with that, what would be your suggestions for like actually pitching? Like if you're a brand, you've got like a cool idea and you're like, I'd love to work with this brand. I feel like there's a lot of power in the actual pitch itself, because obviously you can hey girly your way into someone's DMs, but like it can sound really scammy because people are always messaging things like that, and like how to really cut through the noise.
That's a huge question, and we spend like 3 modules on that in the course. So I'm going to try and give you a really succinct answer. But my answer to that is you're absolutely right. The pitch matters a lot.
Yeah.
I think how you pitch and how you frame it is really dependent on the size of the brand and the type of collab that you want to secure. So if you're wanting to pitch a huge behemoth brand, trying to slide into the DMs is probably not the strategy. You're just not going to get in front of the decision maker and the person that's going to be excited about that collab. Whereas for a small business, you could get immediately in touch with the founder through DMs. You know, that's how we connected. So, you know, it definitely works for that. So I think pick your strategy based on the size of company you're pitching, who you're pitching, and the type of collab that you want to pitch. You know, if you're wanting to do like a collaboration that leverages currencies other than cash and doesn't involve a paid element, then that's a different person in the team, depending on the size of the brand, than if it's a paid collab, in which case you can reach out to, often it was like there'll be a partnerships manager or a sponsorships manager or advertising lead, things like that. So there's that. So really that comes down to finding the decision maker. The decision maker is the big thing. And then really in terms of pitching, there's 2 other things I think I'll share. One is the positive recognition spark is so important. So don't let the first contact be an ask. So if you're sending an email, a cold email, and you've never contacted this person before, and you're asking for them to do some stuff for you, or to even if the ask is, hey, I'd love to catch up for an hour-long coffee, it's really hard to kick that relationship off from that point. You want to start with an offer rather than an ask. So even if you're reaching out with genuine support, recommendations, compliments, never go astray, things like that, they can actually go a really long way, because then when you do come to pitch, whether it's in the DMs, whether it's in email, whatever it might be, you want that person to have a positive recognition spark with your name and with your brand. And I get pitched on DMs a lot, and often it's the first message, and it shows up in my request tab, and I just go, well, you've never messaged me before, ever. So it's just an ask, you know, rather than a positive recognition spark.
I love that so much, because this is something I will like talk about with business friends all the time, that I'm like, when it's something like you want to work with somebody, even when there's like dream brands who I want to write copy for and it's something like that, I'm like, it's such a long game relationship building thing sometimes. Like, yes, obviously, like if they maybe came across my work and read it and they'd be like, oh my God, amazing, like I would love to have you write for me. But I'm like, it doesn't work that quickly, because I'm like, we're marketing girlies, like there are touch points before that point. And I was telling one of my friends recently about how I was listening to this podcast, and the guy was like some fancy business owner, and he was talking about how he has like a background in all things like health, nutrition, wellness and things like that, but he wanted to build his network for some other idea he was launching, and he had this specific guy who he wanted to like connect with, who was like a PT. So he was like, I don't need a PT because I already know a lot of this stuff, but he booked a session with him just to connect with him. And like it helped build a relationship more than like if he then asked him for something, like he's already bought in, he's put a little bit of skin in the game, rather than just like sending him an email and being like, oh yeah, like we would definitely be so aligned to work together, because it might be true, but it's like you didn't put any work into building that relationship first. So that's something that I'm like huge on, is like actually building that relationship first, putting in a little work. It's like very dating wise, wooing, seducing vibes.
It is. And one of the other biggest mistakes I think I see small businesses make is that the pitch is trying to lay out all, like it's trying to secure the marriage on the first day.
No, so true.
Yeah.
And I think that there's like an element to it as well where like you mentioned before, someone will pitch like, oh, I'd love to have like even like an hour coffee, but I think people forget that it's like your time is so valuable too. Even someone replying to DMs is a lot of work. So it's like even just that first thing to try and get in front of someone's eyeballs is like, that's a huge feat. But it's like you've got to plant all these little seeds and like give things time and let them grow and build. And even for us, like, you know, connecting and working together, it was like I had met you in real life. That was ages ago. But it also meant like, because I had DM'd with you, you weren't like, so like I wasn't lost in your message requests either. And then I just thought of making the reel where I was auditing like your website copy, and that sort of was like, it was like giving something before just like taking and being like, because if I had pitched you and just been like, please come on my podcast, you probably would have been like, no, I'm not.
Maybe. That reel was so clever and so good, because it really got my attention, and I got a lot of people as well in my community going, oh my gosh, that's so clever. And it was a natural alignment. Your email pitch was also very good because my next point would actually just be around, it comes down to a value exchange, and you really identified your value really quickly and easily. And just, you know, put it out there, and then we could work on a collaboration that was going to be like win-win and suit us both, and like there's a clear value exchange there, which is so great. So and I actually went to an event recently where there was a founder, and she was talking about how there was like a collab that she had landed, and it was years in the making, and she'd asked so many times and gotten a lot of no's along the way before it finally became a yes. But it did get me thinking about like, it probably wasn't the right timing those first times that she pitched. And in a lot of situations, it's like you could do that and it could end really poorly, because that first no might like just sour the mood depending on who you're actually specifically pitching to. So it's like you only really get one shot to make that really good first impression. So it's like you want to be careful about how you are doing something. And like for us, it would have been so easy for, you know, I really wanted to write copy for you, to just be like, oh my God, I'll do it for free. Like, please let me do it. But I just knew it would come off like more ingenuine. And also like, I was like, it makes me look less valuable if I'm just like throwing my skills out like that. 100%. I think collabs, they're so not about free stuff. That's not a collab if it's just, you know, doing free stuff all the time. And I remember even, you know, I've made plenty of mistakes in my career so far where I've done that, and I've just gone, like I'm just desperate for the for the alignment, and I'll do a ton of stuff for free, and it turned out like being a really imbalanced partnership. But you know, you live and you learn, and you get better as you go. But definitely don't devalue your time and skill set, and products like that too. It should be a really great value exchange.
And I feel like that like leads really seamlessly into kind of understanding what you bring to the table, and like that it might not, you know, look like you bring a lot. Like I know for myself, pitching to write your copy. I was like, I can write your copy, but like, you know, I don't have hundreds of thousands of followers or something I can pitch to you in exchange that will make you be like, oh my God, yes, I want to do this. I'm like, what do I have that I can use that will still be like a good match and make it worthwhile? And also just like seeing the value on the other side, because I know you're busy and your time is important as well. And also that who you stamp your name to, like, is a big deal too. So it's like you would have a bunch of people in marketing who would be like, please come on my podcast. It's like being selective about things in that way.
100%.
Yeah. So I think that the same goes for other brands, and sometimes brands and influencers do the same, where they like put themselves on this pedestal of being like super important and not wanting to give themselves away for free. They're like, I'm not giving my product or doing this, but it's like, it's an investment a lot of the time in different areas.
It's currencies other than cash.
Yeah. So true. And it's just because I guess ROI can't always be measured the same way, because it's not like where, you know, you pour money into ads or something and you can really directly see like how many people are clicking on my ad, how many people are buying. A lot of it is such long game work. With a collaboration, you might like have a community event and like actually in person, like, you know, it doesn't have hundreds of people there, but like you could record that, make content, and it like has an evergreen impact then as well. So yeah, I think like thinking a little bit out of the box with it too.
100%. I think there's a huge over-reliance on meta ads for small businesses and e-com, especially, like going from running a software company for 10 years and now working in e-com. The more like e-com friends I speak to, it's like ads are, you know, huge for my business too. I'm not saying I don't use ads. I absolutely do. They probably account for about 45% of all of our sales is from ads, which is great. But there's a good 30% of our sales that come from brand partnerships, from organic content, from brand plays that really are worth so much, you know. And so it's a quicker conversion because, like you said, with physical events and things like that, you can really fast track a connection with someone and build brand fans rather than just customers who don't connect with the product.
And it's like the touch points basically, because obviously ads, you want them in the mix because someone might actually see it in real life, but like, you know, you're forgetful, you don't go and buy it right away, but
lots of touch points,
reminded all the time. But it's also like the value of different touch points is more, obviously if someone like for No.2, if you go to someone's place and they have it in the bathroom and you use it, you're like, you actually have used it. Like that's like an ad in itself. Versus
and it being a fragrance is so important for that, because I think people, unless they know what it smells like, it's really hard to make that purchasing decision online.
So true. I actually think this is huge because I love writing for like fragrance related brands, because I think it's like such a fun world to build in like the descriptions and things, because you can really try and like sell that feeling of what it's like. But I go on so many different perfume brands websites and like they'll give you the scent notes and tell you what it is, but I'm like, I actually have no idea what that smells like. Like it'll be some random what the note is. I'm like, but I don't know.
I'm not a perfumer.
Like, I don't know what that smells like. So I'm like, unless I have it here.
What's vetiver, really? I couldn't like pin that in my head, what that smells like.
No, literally. So I'll be like, I need you to tell me something similar that I might know what it smells like. It's like anything, you know, cinnamony. I'm like, tell me it smells like Christmas. Like, but yeah, and so it's huge in that way, but not even just for fragrance brands. Like there are so many brands that are 100% online e-com. And so if you don't get to like touch and feel something in real life, it's really hard to make that decision otherwise, to know, because you're like, I want to see what it's going to be like in real life and I need other people touching it and things so I can make that decision.
Totally, yeah.
Would love to chat a little bit about like choosing aligned brands to partner with and like what really makes a great collab.
Great question. I think the first thing would be knowing actually what you want to achieve off the back of a collaboration. A lot of small businesses get really excited by a big brand name and lose sight of actually the results that they want off the back of this collab. So you can use brand collaborations to achieve any number of things. You can use them to grow your email list. You can use them to increase web traffic. You can use them to get media attention. You can use them to get referrals into your ideal customers. There's lots of different, results that you can aim for off the back of a brand collab that isn't necessarily always just like sales. And I would recommend mixing it up so that you're doing a few different ones throughout the year. But know what you want to achieve going in and stay really strong on that. So that would be number one. I think number two would be looking at your ideal customer demographic or who it is that you actually want to reach, and just make sure, do a sense check that that brand is actually speaking to and connecting with that type of person that represents your ideal customer. And then I think it would just be, other than that, just coming back down to the value exchange and really understanding what each brand can stand to gain from a collab and making sure that it's as win-win as possible.
I love that. And I think it's so true to like do your due diligence on the other brand as well. And like, yes, you can look at stats and things of like followers or the email list and all that stuff, but it's like, even with emails, it's like maybe they have X amount subscribers, but how many people open the emails? Like there's a lot to look into.
And you can always start small. You can start with like a little collaboration reel to begin with and see how that partnership goes. And you know what, if you have put in the work with building that relationship really well, then you can continue collaborating again and again for years to come. And so many of the collaboration partners I've had across multiple businesses have started with something quite small and then blossomed into something a lot longer term and amazing over time.
I actually think a huge part of like marketing that people forget about sometimes is that like it's just all relationships. It's such relationship building stuff. And then when you like take that feeling out of it, that's when things feel like flat, because it's like, I don't actually believe that you believe in their mission. Like it just feels like, oh, it was very strategically aligned, so we're doing this together. But it's like you want to actually believe in the mission of each business and everything as well.
Yeah. Opportunities are attached to people.
Yeah. Always. It's always the way. And it's like people sell to people. So like, and even more nowadays, it's like you can see through like marketing that doesn't feel genuine.
Totally.
But yeah, and I feel like, hate to bring up AI, but I'm like, with the like how big AI is getting, it really is so much more important, and it's so much more valuable what you bring to the table as a human. Like there's so much there. I low-key have like beef with robots because and by that I mean like one of my pet peeves is when I'm talking to like a business owner or a brand or something, and their autoresponder in their DMs is like their robot. And but especially when it's a robot pretending it's the person, because we're having a good conversation and then all of a sudden it's a sales pitch. I find it a lot with like service-based businesses especially, but like I'll
like using ManyChat or something like that.
Yeah, they're using something like that, but it's one of those things where I'm like, do it, but do it well. But I also kind of feel like one of the best investments you can make is having a real human actually speaking. Like if you can't do it yourself, like the brand is bigger, having an actual person speaking with people means so much, because when I message a brand, if I have a question, there was like a brand, I can't remember what it's called. This is like going a bit off track, but a few years ago, it was when mushroom supplements were like all the rage.
Oh, yeah.
It was this brand called Super Feast, and I tried out one of theirs, and it was supposed to be good for like brain function and like, productivity. And I tried it, except for me, it would literally make me go to sleep for hours. And I was like, I don't understand. This is supposed to make you productive. And I sent a message to them on Instagram, and the actual founder, and it was like a big brand, but they actually messaged me and were voice noting with me. And they were like, it's adaptogenic. So sometimes it does that because it's giving your body what it needs. So it's like, you probably actually need to rest. You don't need to keep doing stuff. But it was so nice to like actually hear from a person, because I'm like, I totally probably could have found that on like an FAQ section or Googled it myself or something like that, but it just like meant so much more.
One of the things we used actually in my software business that worked so well for this exact reason is Bonjoro. Have you ever heard of that? Basically, it's just a way to send personalized video messages to your customers, and it's like a really seamless app. And basically when we were early on, it got to a point where we had too many customers to actually maintain doing this, and the whole team was creating videos every day. But for every sign up to the platform that came through, we would send a little video that said their name, said their brand name, was like, you know, we've had a little congratulations on this and we'd love to help you with collabs, and a quick idea to get started would be this. And people loved it because, of course, it's like that instant connection. It only took, you know, a minute or two out of our day.
And it's worth so much. That's why I'm always like, it's a fine balance, because I do feel like, obviously, as your business grows and scales and you want to be able to automate some of these things, you know, you can't be in the DMs every day. But also, it's like such an important part of your business. Like, I'm like, if you're not acting like Beyonce and actually getting back to your DMs, people will be like, oh my God, the brand is actually like messaging with me. It's so nice. And it's like, you're probably building like a more loyal customer, because then they're like more emotionally connected to you.
100%.
And then they kind of feel like they're cheating on you when they go and shop somewhere else, because they've talked to you like in DMs. And then, you know, if I post something else on my story, they might see it and be like, you know, you're shopping from this other brand. I actually just got my nails done yesterday, and I have a friend who's been doing my nails, and I actually felt like I was cheating on her the entire time I was getting them done. I'm like, she's going to see me post a cute drink on my story and be like, who did your nails?
Yeah. I had to have a conversation with my hairdresser because I won a hair voucher somewhere else, and I'm like, I'm going somewhere else, but I'm not cheating on you. Like, I'm coming back. You know?
Exactly. I'm like, it's actually crazy, but that's the type of like loyal following and cult like community that you want. I've been seeing a lot in like marketing sort of space at the moment, where people are talking about, I think it was like with Brittany Saunders, someone called her brand, her audience, like cults. And it made me think for a second, because I always like use in my own copy and messaging about wanting people to build a cult-like brand. I'm like, that's a good thing. You want people to be that obsessed with you. So it was interesting to kind of see it spun negatively, because I'm like, is that such a bad thing to have a community of fans that are like obsessed?
They all spun it. I think it was Lullaby Club as well. It was Fate, Lullaby Club, and one other brand. And they all got together and basically created content around it, which was so clever. And they spun it back to positive.
Because I was like, this is positive. Like, what is wrong with someone actually, you know, loving things? I feel like it's just
I mean, I don't think I want to be a cult leader, but I'd like to have a cult-like brand.
That's why I'm like, it's all in the like. It's like cult-like. Obviously not trying to, you know, do anything too bad. But yeah, I'm like, this is a good thing where it's like people are this obsessed. There's like, I'm always the type of shopper where like I'll find a brand I love and I will never shut up about it. Like, I'll rave about it to so many people. Same. And like, I'm very loyal. So then I don't want to buy from other brands because I'm like obsessed with this one. But it's like, I feel like it's so emotions based. So then when I think of other customers, like especially when I'm writing copy and things, I'm thinking of that same kind of person who like, you know, isn't usually buying based on just like, oh, like what's the cheapest option or something like that. They're like buying based off of like, I'm emotionally connected to you. So,
what brand are you obsessed with at the moment?
Oh my God, there's like so many, but the one I always am talking about is literally these jeans brand.
They're great jeans.
They are. I'm obsessed with it. It's this brand called Peachy, and have you heard of it?
Yes, it's like the smaller waist. Yes, I need to buy some of those.
So she's Sydney based, and she does like pop-ups and things all the time, but she started it, I don't know how many years ago, but I bought my first pair from her during like COVID or something. And she was a smaller brand, but she still had like a few thousand followers. And I don't even know how I came about it, but I just was like, oh, amazing. Ordered them, loved them. And then I have like 4 pairs of these jeans now. Like, it's crazy.
When you find a good brand.
Like, it's so good. And then because jeans shopping is like a nightmare.
It is a nightmare. I've just been through it. Buying these, it was just ridiculous.
So bad. And then I because I started wearing those jeans, I just like forgot that wearing jeans from other brands is like kind of a nightmare. And then I was just like in a shop, tried on a pair of jeans randomly and was like, these are terrible. Like I hate it. And
it's like swimsuit shopping. It's just
and I was like, I've been spoiled by having clothes that are like actually like solving a problem made for me, that I've like forgotten that other brands don't always do that. And then it just like reinstilled that loyalty that I was like, I can't buy jeans from other brands. It has to be those ones. But yeah, and then it's the type of thing where it's like, I love the concept of like everyone is an influencer in their own like little space. So it's like I will like update like my sister and my friends on new finds that I have, and then they'll end up buying them, and it's like everyone is their own little influencer.
We actually, with No.2, with which is a toilet fragrance product for anyone listening, it is like, what on earth is this? It's like a poo drop. So after you go to the toilet, you put it into the toilet bowl and gets rid of any unwanted smells naturally. But when I launched that brand, I didn't gift any influencers. I gifted all my mates. So I built a list of like, I think it was about 85 or so people who I just thought would love the product, and I just wanted them to try it. I wanted to get feedback and launched it and sent 85 out, and 84 people shared it on social media.
Oh my God.
And even
who was the one person who didn't do it?
I'll never forget. But you know what? That one person talked about me in rooms when I wasn't there, and it led to other opportunities. So don't begrudge them that. But I just couldn't believe it that they turned into influencers that day, because it was so exciting to receive like a package from a brand that was free, and obviously they had a relationship with me, so I had a gun to their head basically going, post. No, just kidding. But it had such an impact, and that was probably the best social media campaign that we've ever run.
So true.
And it wasn't working with influencers.
I love that. And it's also like when you gift like a product to like everyday people to try, like for one thing, it's exciting because you're like, oh my God, mail, like I'm getting free product.
It's not a bill.
Yeah, I'm getting free product, and like I'm not, it makes you feel very influencery.
Yeah.
But also like you're getting a genuine genuine feedback and a review from them, because like influencers or UGC creators are like a little bit trained to, you know, steer towards the positive and what they're saying, and like they know the right things to say, whereas everyday people will literally just talk about something like the way that it is. Totally. And like you also find they use things, like it makes you identify things that you thought were like so simple and user friendly in your products, that like you just forget sometimes. And I find this with copy as well. On your website, you'll think it's so easy and clear how it is to do something, but genuinely people have no idea how to like click buttons and find certain things. Like you have to make it so simple.
Yeah, simple copy is so important.
Simple copy is so important. And I always find like I'm lucky that most of the time when I'm writing website copy, I'm writing before it's designed. So then I can like direct it a little bit to be like, this is how things should be laid out. But even when they're not, I'm like, I can't help myself giving my 2 cents. I'll be like, you should probably like switch this around because it'll be better for UX. Because I'm like, when someone is scrolling through and they're doing this, they're landing on these pages, like the right places. Because I think sometimes people will think that not less is more, like more is more. They'll be like, well, if I just put like a shop now button in every section, perfect, because then they'll click and they'll shop. But it's like you're actually giving too much, and now it's really noisy, when we could just like be strategic about where we put things.
Totally. Guiding people to the right journey.
Yeah. Sure. Maybe to wrap things up, we'll just like give a little summary on like how people can get started with a brand collab, and like, you know, what things to think about. Any other tips and advice you have, basically,
sure,
to wrap things up. I feel like there's so much. It's such a broad topic.
It is a broad topic. It's huge. I would just say as well, a lot of businesses I speak to get really stuck in the creative idea. If they feel like I don't have a big creative idea as to how I can like collab, and I don't know how to pitch if I don't have a great idea. And I would say, like, don't let that stop you from actually securing that relationship and putting in the work now, because like often once you actually get the first date with that brand collaborator and you hop on a Zoom or you hop on a coffee catch up or whatever it might be, that is your opportunity to ask questions around what they're working on and what they're looking for. Because up until that point, you're making complete guesses around what they might find valuable.
Yeah.
So for example, like with our Microsoft collab, initially when I, did the positive recognition spark and built the relationship, and I put forward that I'd really love to chat to them about maybe partnering up on our podcast, and I shared all of our stats and why it would be valuable to them and all this kind of stuff, and I got the first date. That first date was really interesting because I asked them questions around what they were working on and what their pain points were at the time. Yeah. And they said, oh, look, we really just want to increase foot traffic to our Pitt Street store in Sydney. And I never would have guessed that that was the marketing goal that they were going for. So instead, I was like, cool, I went away and used that to generate a creative idea. Yeah. And we ended up doing a live podcast recording inside the Pitt Street store that we brought people along to. So it was win-win for them and for me, and it hit their goal that they were working on. So I think to sort of finish off, you certainly don't need a big Instagram following in order to collaborate. You don't need to have all your ducks in a row in terms of a big creative idea or anything like that. Yeah. And you don't need to pigeonhole yourself into like these big one-off, once in a blue moon collab partners that could be your dream collaborator, and not to discount working with them ever, but definitely work on doing more collabs throughout the year because they really are one of the cheapest, most effective ways to reach new customers. They're up to 35 times cheaper than digital advertising, which is crazy.
That is crazy. I think it is really good to I think also loosen the idea in your mind of like the ROI of it all, because a lot of it is long game stuff too.
It's so hard to track ROI of word of mouth as well. But I promise it's a really high ROI.
Because it's kind of like if you were launching a product and like you haven't really gotten any feedback yet, versus you're like, okay, well, I'm going to spend money launching an event and it's going to be a bit of a pop-up event and we'll get our community come try it out. And so like, there might not even be people who buy it then, but it's like you're getting feedback from them to make it better before you do officially launch. So it's still like kind of making you money, but like in the long run. Whereas if you had launched it without doing that, then you, for one thing, don't have that content, you haven't made that relationship with those customers, and the product might need tweaking that will stop the sales later down the track. So yeah, I think like being strategic around those ideas, and also just I guess remembering that sort of relationship building, kind of like you just said, like how you don't know what a brand needs, like you don't know what they need until you ask. And so it's like really strategically balancing that pitch between I guess
what you think that they want to get out of it
what
versus
they think they want
and what you want versus,
and also like about how you're pitching yourself, like you're like giving all the information about you. It's like it opened the door for further conversation down the track. Like
totally, that's not the way to get the first date anyway.
All you need to do is like get eyeballs on you at that point and get their attention.
Yes,
and then the chance to first date, woo them, do all the things comes later down the track. Amazing. Well, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that's it. I hope everyone gets their collaboration juices flowing and get some partnerships secured this year. There's still plenty of time to do some cool stuff.
Definitely. I'm guilty of being like, oh, it's August, the year's like over. But no, there's still lots of time
for any ecom brands listening. Oh my God, Black Friday's coming. It's going to be a full-on season.
It's crazy to me when it's like mid-year and we have to think about Christmas campaigns and things. Anyway, it was so great to chat with you. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing all your advice. I honestly just like, I could listen to you talk about marketing and collabs and things all day.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
Amazing. Hey.
Dunsky.
Thanks for hanging out with me today and lending me your ears. Loved what you heard? It would mean the world if you could leave a review or share with a friend. Or just like send everyone in your contacts the link actually. I love to yap, so feel free to drop me an unsolicited voice note on Instagram at Goodhearted Studio if you're feeling inspired to dump your boring marketing. Okay, see you in the next one. I love you. Bye.